A primer for fledgling misanthropologists. Satanists are pragmatists who do their best to see the world around them in as unclouded a manner as is possible. We call that undefiled wisdom. Then we use this understanding to make the best from life for ourselves as well as those whom we cherish. Being filled with disgust at the spectacle of the milling hordes that cover our lovely globe and soil it with their presence, we try to minimize our contact with those gullible denizens that we call the herd. Human life, in and of itself, is not considered valuable. It is the worth of particular humans that matters to the Satanist. Most people go about their middling ways and thus rate only indifference, while we are engaged with those who truly matter to us, the worthy and the accomplished. Misanthropy is thus the basis for a satanic lifestyle. Since we generally feel that just about everything on this planet is ruined by an overabundance of people, we who study the beast called man call ourselves, with a nod and a wink, misanthropologists. I salute a colleague, Carl Abramson, who travels the world to explore various cultures, as he first used that term to describe his activities. From the Satanist perspective, an important characteristic of our species can be visualized in the shape of a pyramid. We see a small capstone at the top, defining those few individuals who have the ability to create. These precious beings synthesize a unique combination of select ideas in chosen fields of human endeavor, or define some principles that reveal a deeper understanding of the landscape of existence, and thus enrich the rest of the species. They move the world of human society. Charting the achievements of these individuals is often considered a depiction of a civilization's progress. Below this rather small pinnacle is a far larger trapezoidal region that includes those people who have the ability to produce something. These are the folk who apply the breakthroughs of the creators. They sustain a civilization. The great mass of the pyramid below is the vast majority of the human race. People who can do naught but believe in what they are handed. They are the marching morons who flow with the current of their social reality, who do naught to affect it, and who are an ocean whose tides are generated by the gravitational efforts of those in the strata above them. It is a fact gleaned from observation that most members of the species Homo sapiens are incapable of looking at the world with anything that approximates a clear perception of its actuality. There is an objective reality, a totality of all that exists, but each individual's worldview is a subjective reality, a unique subset. This perspective is based on perceptions colored entirely by an individual's axiomatic structure of concepts. That foundation is the means through which these perceptions are organized. Religion or philosophy is thus what provides that bottom line context for the synthesized perceptions of each person, whether it is consciously determined or simply absorbed through one's culture as an osmo-consciousness. Throughout human history, the dominant cultures have always found a means for controlling their populace. In the West, Christianity has occupied a great deal of time as one means for control. Its ideologues successfully dupe the faithful into accepting the idea that their natural impulses were sinful to God, whom they conveniently couldn't contact for verification, and that the church was needed to cleanse folk of what they can't help doing, they're all sinners, in preparation for some mythical afterlife which was guaranteed to be better than the one through which they currently suffered. This swindle worked, since life for most was, as has been said, generally rather miserable, brutish, and short. Today, technology devised by our creators and manufactured by our producers has made this con game irrelevant. So, our corporate culture has found a new means for control. The pros have been taught that they are all individuals, unique and precious, and that it is their right to be free. As they nod their heads in unison, the corporate hucksters set up their various wares, which are then peddled to these sheep. The masses rush to mortgage their lives to purchase pre-packaged symbols, which supposedly proclaim their freedom and individuality to the rest of the herd. Those who are truly aware laugh at the spectacle of people who actually think that they have evolved to be unique by purchasing a particular brand of running shoes or a sports utility vehicle. And it is fascinating to note that those two particular products are similar in design. They are bought by people who neither run nor drive in terrains that require such means of transport. Consumerism is today just as powerful a device for enslavement as was Christianity. Nothing has really changed. That plebeians have a capacity for swallowing whole myriad concepts without factual basis is what makes them so easily manipulated. It is their inability to check the doled-out illusions against reality that allows this to continue. All that a would-be leader needs to do is to tell his intended followers that they are somehow special, elect, unique, or superior, and they will gleefully accept these false compliments. The leader simply tells the flock that they are elite, and points out some manifest destiny of his own choosing, and the sheep sprint to the slaughter. Never underestimate people's tendency to identify with something deemed superior by an authority figure in an attempt at self-elevation. Xenophobia is almost always the rule. Promoting the fear and denigration of alien societies serves leaders as an easy technique for herd unification. There are also those who have some native spark of brightness, but who will never be considered by their peers to be the acme of our species. They often ponder about the uniquely efficacious few in history, misidentify themselves with them, and then somehow think they, too, ought to be treated as are these rare gems of our species. Our current culture is founded on such narcissism, and the extreme forms of self-deification now practiced by the mediocre have reached an astonishing level. The capacity for self-delusion in those with moderate talents and abilities is boundless. There is no self-evaluation present in this type, who enshrines each piddling thought as if it were the unified field theory. The rigorous self-criticism of the true creator is alien to these vacuoles who generate nothing but excreta, yet think it gold, demanding your participation in maintaining their illusion. This is another symptom of the general mass's tendency to eschew discrimination and thus view the world from an idealistic, irrational point of view. Idealism is one of the most dangerous practices to be found in our kind. It is a projection upon reality of an illusory ought-to-be, which in many prevents acknowledgement of what truly is. This practice has most often been fostered by religions, which create systems of morality in an effort to make their particular ought or reality. They then must exterminate any who don't share allegiance to this paradigm, as they shatter the illusion of its truth by following a very different ought of their own. Curiously, human factions have distilled these oughts into symbols and fight and die for the cloth versions of these icons called flags. The Satanist sees the act of dying for a symbol as a ludicrous waste of time. Looking through history's annals, one can amply prove that blind idealism is the root cause of the slaughter of millions, as one group works to force another to accept its illusory formulations for their vision of what ought to be. This is what leads me to offer a principle that will help you to predict the outcome in all arenas of human competition. Might is right. Might is right.